Donald Trump just shared a disturbing message on social media, and for once, he doesn't look like the craziest person in the room. That said, the entire world should pay attention. We are in very dangerous territory. I'm David Reddish. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. So, last weekend, as Trump tried to show off the might of the U.S. military and instead bored the heck out of the world, not to mention put himself to sleep, see our other videos, amid the military parade, real military conflict ignited on the other side of the planet. Here's the latest on the escalating Israel-Iran war.
The war between Israel and Iran intensified through the weekend. The countries are separated by 1,000 miles, with Iraq, Syria, and Jordan in between.
After 5 days of attacks, the Iranian Ministry of Health says 224 people have been killed by Israeli airstrikes.
In Israel, officials say 24 people have died in ballistic missile attacks, mainly on the cities of Tel Aviv and Bat Yam.
Israeli jets have bombed the Iranian capital of Tehran, as well as nuclear installations, including the main uranium enrichment site of Natanz.
Our correspondent Deborah Patta is in Tel Aviv tonight.
An Iranian strike deep in the heart of Tel Aviv. For the fifth straight day, the skies above the city lit up as Israel's air defense system intercepted one Iranian missile after another. The arch-rivals have been locked in battle, launching tit-for-tat strikes. The Israeli Air Force controls the skies of Tehran, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said earlier. Not far from Tel Aviv, in the city of Petah Tikva, this is the moment an Iranian missile slammed into an apartment block, killing 4 people. Israeli-American Lihi Greiner was with her husband and 3 children, hiding in their safe room at the time.
Even our safe room was shaking.
When we entered her apartment, there was shattered glass strewn everywhere.
You think that's scary? It gets worse. Stay with me here. We should note at this point that the attack on Iran by Israel comes at a precarious time. The Ayatollah and theocratic government of Iran is wildly unpopular with the Iranian people, which, strange as it may sound, are actually fairly liberal. Prior to the Iranian Revolution of 1979, Iran was considered the most progressive Muslim nation of the Middle East. It's not clear at this point how this attack is affecting public perception of the government in Iran. But perhaps more important for us is the question, where does this leave the United States, and for that matter, the G7 nations currently meeting in Canada? The Taco president left the summit quite suddenly yesterday over the escalating attacks. Vice President J.D. Vance refused to rule out U.S. military involvement in the conflict in an interview yesterday. And as we are shooting this segment right now, Trump posted an alarming tweet claiming that the U.S., quote, has complete and total control, end quote, of the air above Tehran. That tweet also arrives amid still unconfirmed reports that the U.S. is deploying a massive fleet of refueling air tankers across the Atlantic. At this time, however, we can confirm that U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee sent this frightening text message to Trump. Trump later felt a need to share it on social media. Now, this message is very long, so we won't read the whole thing here. In essence, Huckabee claims that the Iran-Israel war is an opportunity sent by God to Trump. He further claims God spared Trump's life in Allentown, that was the attempt at his assassination last year, for a reason. Huckabee also claims God is sending Trump a message, writing, quote, I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine, end quote. But what I find most disturbing is a reference Huckabee makes. Quote, no president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 1945, close quote. That appears to be a reference to Truman's decision to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end World War II. While we can debate the ethics and necessity of dropping the bombs, what's more important in this moment is that Huckabee appears to be encouraging Trump to take similar drastic action, if not to use nuclear weapons against Iran, then to launch a full-scale invasion. I don't know about you, but I've already lived through one American war turned quagmire in the Middle East, and that was more than enough. Trying to overthrow the Ayatollah is one thing, but a full-scale invasion? How many innocent people will have to die? How will that affect their opinions of the United States and Israel? How will that affect our relations with other Middle Eastern and Islamic nations all over the world? How will that affect trade in the Middle East? I seem to recall the price of oil skyrocketing to new levels after the Iraq War, and it never came down again. I used to gas up my car for 79 cents a gallon back before that invasion. Now I pay $5 a gallon. I mention this not to say that the cost of oil justifies avoiding a war or letting innocent people suffer. I say it merely to remind you, dear viewers, that what happens on the other side of the world can have drastic effects at home too. The irony to all of this is that Israeli Prime Minister and warmonger Benjamin Netanyahu has justified the Israeli attacks on Iran by saying he's trying to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. You know, I recall back in 2015, John Kerry and Barack Obama had a deal in place to prevent that from happening. Trump tore it up at Netanyahu's behest in 2018, only to try and renegotiate it this year. And now this mess happened. And do we trust Donald Trump to have the wisdom and discipline to conduct a war of any size, let alone one nestled in the most dangerous and volatile part of the world? We will keep you updated on this story as it develops. For now, I suggest taking a page from the Huckabee playbook and speaking to God. Pray that this war does not involve the United States and that it goes no further. I'm David Reddish.